Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. You should have just completed the quiz before you started this video, so I hope you did well on it. What you need to do is go ahead and get the notes from the packet or print them out or take these on a separate sheet of paper. As normal, whenever you're ready to turn this in, make sure you take a picture of all the work, make sure it's all completed, submit it so I can give you points for watching this video. So, if that's all, we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about absolute value equations. So we've been messing with absolute value for a little bit with order of operations and other things like that. But now we're going to be solving equations that have absolute value inside of them. So whenever we start solving these, we're going to have 4 steps. The first step is to ensure that the absolute value expression is isolated. The second one is to set the inside equal to both the positive and negative number from the other side of the equation. Alright? The third step would be to solve both equations. And 4 would be to write your answer as a solution set. Or in other words, I need it as x is equal to blah. And we'll have some different, I'll give you some examples so you know exactly what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and use these steps to help us solve number 1. So, number 1, we have to isolate the absolute value expression. Well, since it's just the absolute value on the left side of the equal sign, it's already isolated, so step 1 is done for us. 2, we set the inside equal to both the positive and negative number from the other side of the equation. So we look at the inside of the absolute value, it's x, so we're going to have x equals. Then we go to the other side of the equal sign, it's 2. So that means we're going to have x equals 2 and x equals negative 2. Next, we have to solve the equations. Since these are already x equals blah, we don't have to solve anything. They're already solved for us. So now we have to write our answer as a solution set. So we can say that x is equal to, this is called a curly brace, and we're going to do the smallest number first, so negative 2, comma, 2, curly brace, and this is going to be your answer. This is how I expect all of these problems to look. So let's take another look at number 2. We have the absolute value of m is equal to 14. So following our steps, we have to make sure the absolute value expression is isolated. It is. We take the inside of the absolute value, so m. We have m is equal to. We go to the other side of the equal sign. It's 14. So we're going to have a positive 14 and a negative 14. Our next step would be to solve the equation. This time it's already solved, so we have to write our answer as a solution set. So we have m is equal to, curly brace, negative 14, comma, 14, curly brace. And that's going to be our answer for number 2. Alright, so let's try number 3. We have the absolute value of 5z is equal to 40. So we take the inside of the absolute value, which is 5z, and we set it equal to 2 different numbers. Alright, we go over to the other side of the equal sign, it's 40. So we're going to have negative 40 and 40. Now we just have to solve these 2 equations simultaneously. So in order to solve this, we have 5 times z, we have to get rid of the 5, so that means we have to divide by 5 on both sides. And that gives us z is equal to, these things cancel, negative 40 divided by 5 is negative 8. And then for this guy, we have 5 times z, so we have to divide by 5 on both sides. This cancels, we're left with z is equal to 40 divided by 5 is 8. So we have two different answers. We have negative 8 and 8. So we have to write this as a solution set. Negative 8, comma 8. And this is our answer. Alright, let's look at number 4 now. We have the absolute value of negative 7a is equal to 28. So we take the inside, negative 7a. And negative 7a is equal to, we take the thing that's outside or on the other side of the equal sign, so 28. We're going to have negative 28 and positive 28. Now we have to solve for a. So for this side, we have negative 7a is equal to negative 28. So in order to get rid of this negative 7, we have to divide by negative 7. So we have a is equal to negative 28 divided by negative 7 is positive 4. And for this guy, we do the same thing. So we're going to divide by negative 7 on both sides. The negative 7's cancel. We're left with a is equal to 28 divided by negative 7 is negative 4. So we have two different answers. So we have to have a solution set. A is equal to, curly brace, negative 4, comma 4, curly brace. And there we go. That's number 4. Let's take a look at number 5. So number 5 is the absolute value of d plus 1 is equal to 8. We take what's inside the absolute value, so d plus 1, we said equal to something. Alright, we go over to the other side of the equal sign, it's 8, so that means we're going to have a negative 8 and a positive 8. Now we have to solve both of these equations. So we have d plus 1. We have to get rid of the plus 1, so we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. And this happens for both equations, so I'm going to do them at the same time. Plus 1 minus 1 cancels. We have d is equal to negative 8 minus 1. That's negative 9. And we have d is equal to 8 minus 1 is 7. So we have d is equal to, curly brace, negative 9, comma 7, curly brace. And that's our answer for number 5. Alright, let's look at number 6. We have the absolute value of w minus 3 is equal to 4. So we take the thing that's inside the absolute value. We said equal to the positive negative version of whatever is on the right side. So we have positive 4 and negative 4. Now we have to solve this equation. So in order to get rid of this negative 3 or the minus 3, we're going to add 3 to both sides. And same thing over here. The 3's cancel. We're left with w is equal to 4 plus 3 is 7. And w is equal to negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. So for our solution set, we have curly brace. Smallest one's negative 1, comma, 7, curly brace. And that's going to be our answer for number 6. Alright, let's look at number 7. Things are getting just a little bit more complicated. So with this one, we have the absolute value of 4n plus 2 is equal to 34. First step, we take what's inside. 4n plus 2 is equal to, and 4n plus 2 is equal to. We have 34 on the other side of the equal sign. We're going to have a positive version, and we're going to have a negative version. Now we just have to solve this. So we have to get rid of this 2 first, so we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Again, it's the same process. These 2's cancel. We're left with 4n is equal to, what's 34 minus 2? Well, that's 32. Then over here, these 2's cancel. We have 4n is equal to, negative 34 minus 2 is negative 36. Alright. Now we have to get rid of this 4. In order to do that, we have to divide by 4 on both sides. Same thing over here. We have n left over. So we have n is equal to 32 divided by 4 is positive 8. And negative 36 divided by 4 is negative 9. So we have two different answers. So we have n is equal to, curly brace, negative 9, comma 8, curly brace. All right, let's try number 8. So for this one, we have the absolute value of negative 2v minus 5 is equal to 17. We take the thing that's inside, so negative 2v minus 5, set equal to something. Negative 2v minus 5, set equal to something. On the other side of the equal sign, we have 17, so we're going to have a negative 17. And I'm going to separate this a little bit. And a positive 17. Alright, first step. We add 5 to both sides. These cancel. And then we have to simplify just a little bit. So, we're left with negative 2v is equal to negative 17 plus 5 is going to be negative 12. Negative 2v is equal to 17 plus 5 is going to be 22. Alright, so now in order to solve for v, we have to divide by negative 2 on both sides. So we have v is equal to negative 12 divided by negative 2 is positive 6. V is equal to 22 divided by negative 2 is negative 11. So our solution set should be negative 11, comma 6. And that's the first page. Let's move on to the second page. Alright, so on the second page we have a question being asked. What if there is stuff outside the absolute value bars? Well, what does happen? Well, if you remember, our very first step is to isolate the absolute value sign. Okay, so let's give this a try. Let's look at number 9. So we have the absolute value of c plus 2 is equal to 12. We have to get this thing by itself. Okay, so it needs to be the only thing on the left side of the equal sign. So in order to do that, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So we have the absolute value of c is equal to 12 minus 2 is 10. Then we have it isolated. Now we take whatever's inside. So that's a c is equal to, c is equal to. Then we go to the other side of the equal sign. It's 10. So we're going to have negative 10 and positive 10. And still, our answer is going to be as a solution set. And that's our final answer. Alright? Doesn't get that hard. That's about it. Okay? So, let's move on to number 10. We have the absolute value of y minus 8 is equal to negative 5. Very first step, we have to isolate the absolute value. So we have to add 8 to both sides. We have the absolute value of y is equal to negative 5 plus 8 is positive 3. We take whatever's inside the absolute value, which is y. Then we go over to the other side of the equal sign. It's a 3. So we're going to have negative 3 and positive 3. Then we have to write as a solution set. So we have y is equal to, curly brace, negative 3, comma 3, curly brace. And that's our answer. Alright. Let's look at number 11. Well, what's different? So with this one, we have a number being multiplied outside of the absolute value sign. So what we have to do is isolate the variable. So no matter what, we have to isolate the variable, or isolate the absolute value. So in order to do that, we have to get rid of the 6. So we're going to divide by 6 on both sides. We're going to have the absolute value of x is equal to 24 divided by 6 is 4. Then we do the same thing that we have been doing. So we take the inside. Then we set it equal to the positive and negative version of the other side of the equal sign. So we're going to have x is equal to negative 4 and x is equal to 4. Then we would have to solve this, but it's already solved. We're going to write it as a solution set. Smallest number first. And there we go. We have x is equal to -4 or +4. Let's look at number 12. We have -2 times the absolute value of z plus 3 is equal to -14. All right, we have to isolate the absolute value. So we have to get rid of this -2 first. So we're going to divide by -2 on both sides. We have z plus 3, and that's in absolute value bars, is equal to -14 divided by -2 is +7. Now we take whatever's inside, so z plus 3 equal to z plus 3 equal to. We have positive version, negative version of the 7. So we're going to have 7 and -7. And then we have to solve for z for both of these. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. What's left over is z is equal to 7 minus 3 is 4. And then we have z is equal to -7 minus 3 is -10. So our answer, which will have to be in a solution set, is -10, 4. And that's going to be our answer for number 12. Alright, let's try number 13. So number 13 says the absolute value of 2w minus 4 divided by 6 is equal to 3. So we have to isolate the absolute value. So in order to do that, we have to get rid of the 6. Since it's being divided by, in order to get rid of it, we have to multiply by. So we're going to multiply by 6 on both sides. Top cancels with bottom. We're left with the absolute value of 2w minus 4 is equal to 3 times 6 is 18. Now, same thing as before. So we take the inside, 2w minus 4 is equal to, and 2w minus 4 is equal to. We're going to have a positive and negative version of 18. So we're going to have positive 18 and negative 18. Alright, from here we just have to solve this equation. So we have to add 4 to both sides. The 4's cancel. We're left with 2w is equal to 18 plus 4 is 22. Okay, these cancel. We're left with 2w is equal to -18 plus 4 is going to be -14. Now we have to solve for w. So in order to do that, we have to divide by 2 on both sides. That leaves us with w is equal to 22 divided by 2 is 11. W is equal to -14 divided by 2 is -7. So our answer should be w is equal to curly brace -7, 11. And that's going to be our answer for number 13. So for number 14, we have -10 times the absolute value of h plus 5 minus 3 is equal to -83. First step, we have to add 3 to both sides because we have to isolate the absolute value. We're left with -10 absolute value of h plus 5 is equal to -83 plus 3 is going to be -80. Now we have to divide both sides by -10. So, -10 cancels. We're left with the absolute value of h plus 5 is equal to -80 divided by -10 is going to be +8. Now, we have to set the thing inside the absolute value equal to. Then we look on the other side of the equal sign, it's 8. So we're going to have -8 and +8. Now we just have to solve this equation. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. We're left with h is equal to -8 minus 5 is going to be -13. And then we're going to have h is equal to 8 minus 5, which is 3. So our final answer is going to be h equals, curly brace, -13, 3. And that's going to be our final answer for number 14. Let's look at number 15. Alright, so number 15, we have 7 times the absolute value of 4n plus 8 minus 6 is equal to 106. I want you to do this one by yourself. Alright. For number 16, we have 3 over 2 multiplied by the absolute value of 4r minus 4 minus 24 is equal to negative 21. We'll do this one together. So we have to solve this. So we're going to add 24 to both sides. Okay. That gives us 3 over 2. Absolute value of 4r minus 4 equals negative 21 plus 24 is going to be 3. Then we have to get rid of this fraction out here. And if you remember, the way that we get rid of a fraction is to multiply by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal, you just flip it. So we have 2 over 3. We're going to multiply that. Okay, 2's cancel, 3's cancel. We're left with the absolute value of 4r minus 4 is equal to 3 times 2, or let's change the 3 into a fraction. So we have 3 times 2 is 6 over 1 times 3 is 3, and 6 over 3 is 2. Now we take the thing inside the absolute value, so 4r minus 4 is equal to 4r minus 4 is equal to. We go to the other side of the equal sign, in this case is 2, so we're going to write negative 2, and we're going to have a positive 2. Now we just solve this. We have to add 4 to both sides. So we have 4r is equal to negative 2 plus 4 is just positive 2. And then we have 4r is equal to 2 plus 4 is 6. Now we have to divide by 4 on both sides. So we're going to have, for this one, r is equal to 2 over 4, which can simplify to 1 over 2. That's one of our answers. Then we have, for this one, r is equal to 6 over 4, which can be reduced to 3 over 2. So that's one of our answers. So now for our solution set, which I'm going to write up here, we have r is equal to, curly brace, 1/2, comma, 3 over 2, curly brace. And this is our final answer. Alright, for number 15, your final answer should be n is equal to, curly brace, negative 6, comma, 2. Make sure that you're getting those answers whenever you try that. And let's talk about some special cases that might happen. So, number 17. We have the absolute value of x is equal to negative 6. Since an absolute value can never equal a negative sign, we say that this has no solution. So again, an absolute value can never equal a negative number. Now, let's talk about number 18. We have negative 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is equal to 21. Let's start solving this. So in order to solve it, we have to divide by negative 3 on both sides. That leaves us with the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is equal to 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7. You stop right here, because now we can say that this has no solution, because the absolute value is equal to a negative number. So whenever I ask you to explain here, we're going to say the absolute value cannot equal a negative number once it's isolated. So for example, if you have, let's say, negative 2 times the absolute value of x minus 5 is equal to negative 5, you can't just automatically say that this has no solution, because if you start solving this, We'd have to divide by -2 on both sides. We'd be left with absolute value of x minus 5 is equal to a positive 5 over 2. So this will have an answer. It's only if the isolated, so this part, is equal to a negative number. Alright? So that's it for the notes. You're going to have a worksheet to come along with this. You can expect to be able to work on it. Well, it should already be posted. Once you get finished with the notes, make sure that you have number 15 completed and you have the right answers. Again, that should be -6 and 2. If you have any questions, please message me on LiveGrades or text me. Do not leave a private comment on the work. I'm not able to see it until I'm starting to grade. But if you have any problems or just want some more clarification, please let me know. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.